Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Apollo's Odyssey. I'm your host, Apolla Asteria, and today, here at the beginning of 2025, I'm going to be doing a show on this mysterious fog that has hit since basically the end of 2024 and going into this month. So this has been happening reportedly mostly in Florida, but then people have been talking about it in other parts of the East Coast, other parts of America. This is happening in the United States, Canada, and even England and other parts of the world, supposedly. So I'm going to kind of cover this today because, well, it kind of seems like something that's mystifying the masses right now. And it's a little scary. I've looked into a lot of basically conspiracy theories on the topic, so I'm going to get into those tonight, and I want to hear your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. When I first think of fog in regards to the UFO phenomena, what comes to mind to me are many accounts of basically people having these sort of crazy abduction UFO type experiences that had to do with a fog or a mist. So basically, there's several cases of this happening where people kind of went into a mist, and there's always some sort of crazy time experience that happens, like a missing time sort of scenario. Um, Also, there's a lot of ancient legends about this as well, such as, a very popular one that I really love is the Mist of Avalon. The Mist of Avalon, or in Avalon from Arthurian legend, basically there was this isle that was in England where at one time there was an island that was like in the middle of the mist. And this is actually recorded, like this actually was a thing that in England at the time in this specific area there was a piece of land that was surrounded by water, but now those lands aren't flooded anymore. So it's all just flat land now. But back in this ancient legend, which a lot of people say it's not a legend, it's true, is what happened was there were a lot of basically priestesses of Avalon that would go hang out on this isle, which was called Avalon, and they had to go through a mist to go there, and it was sort of like this alternate realm. But obviously, this is probably not what we're talking about in regards to what's happening in Florida and other parts of the world right now. I've been looking at these reports all day, and a lot of people have been saying that they're actually getting sick from it, that it's extremely thick, that it's causing them all these health issues. They can't sleep, they can't they're just like literally getting some sort of weird flu from it. And so two things that also came onto my table when looking into all this was the DARPA program Smart Dust, and also Operation Seaspray. So I'm going to get into those in a little bit here. I pulled up a couple articles about what those are. But before I get into that, I want to share some videos that I just collected throughout the day today. So let's get into those. All right, so here we're looking at what looks like the fog, and it is basically growing over the Florida area. This is some great imaging of what that actually looks like. And
These are actually dropping less than a quarter. You can see visibility very limited.
We've got a dense fog advisory for everyone.
So
they're actually dropping less than a quarter. You can see visibility very limited.
We've got a dense fog advisory for everyone.
So there we have another video that's kind of getting into the news. Like, obviously, this is something that is being shared all over mainstream media right now. Let's get on to the next one here. Okay, so that one's a little scary, and I'm just going to show kind of several clips here of like what people are basically recording themselves.
Happy New Year! Happy New Year!
So in this one, basically this kid is freaking out. It's the new year, and obviously you can hear some fireworks going off. And this kid is freaking out, and he's like, "What is going on here? You know, what is going on with this dog? He's yelling at this dog." All right, which one is? So here's another one that just kind of shows, you know, from another account on that I pulled up on Instagram today. And as you can see, there's these sort of particles. Sorry, let me just point here. These sort of particles that are in the air in a lot of these fog situations. And, you know, it's really interesting because it almost looks like snow on camera. And so that's why a lot of people are talking about this DARPA program, Smart Dust, which I'm going to be getting into. So as you can see here, this fog is so thick. People are having problems driving, and it looks like the person who posted this video said fog is in Florida. The fog is in Florida. It's almost 9 a.m. and it smells like spray. We need to report this everywhere. It's happening. And, you know, a lot of people are saying it reminds them of weird chemical smell, like cockroach spray or some sort of weird kind of spray.
I'm feeling the flow. Life's a winding track, but I'm steady on my feet. Got a pocket full of dreams.
Ooh, I probably shouldn't play that. That might get me demonetized here. Okay.
It smells. Can't see shit.
Dreamed up by the military to get information from the battlefield.
They call it smart.
I want to introduce this one real quick. Okay, so what's interesting about this one that I'm about to pull up is it shows these kind of news clips that aired, I'm not sure how long ago, but it's talking about the DARPA Smart Dust program. So check out this news clip that goes along with this here.
Dreamed up by the military to get information from the battlefield.
They call it smart dust, and the new technology may soon make it possible to keep track of anything, anywhere, including you.
Smart dust originated with DARPA back in the 90s. This powder-sized chip is something called the Mu chip from Hitachi. It's the smallest commercially available RFID system in the world. You can literally scatter this stuff like dust or embed it into a sheet of paper. It doesn't require a battery. Flecks of computing power settling on your skin, ingested, monitoring you inside and out.
The nanoparticles are designed to go under the radar of the immune system, and so they are undetected in the body.
We have computing everywhere, we have connectivity everywhere, we have infrastructure that can compute those with new capabilities like AI.
If you have enough data and you have enough computing power, you can understand people better than they understand themselves, and then you can manipulate them in ways which were previously impossible.
Transhumanism is a growing movement that aims to use technology to modify our bodies, sometimes in radical ways to make them stronger, faster, and better.
Whoa. Okay, so what are we talking about here with this Smart Dust program? Obviously, they kind of mentioned AI. They mentioned transhumanism. So, you know, that clip is kind of being shared around today. So I'm going to pull up an article that came out. When did this article come out? I think this article came out about 10 years ago. Yeah, September 2014. Okay, so I'm just going to read what I can about the smart dust here and, get a little more facts on it. The new technologies allow for extremely small and ubiquitous military sensors. In the 1972 science fiction story The Unknown by Christopher M. Veal, 3 space pilots find themselves plagued by ultra-miniature spy circuits, tiny computers used for espionage and no bigger than a speck of dust. They drift in like dust motes, one space pilot says, but you have no control over where they drift. An air current or a static charge can completely foul up your arrangements. In 1972, dust-sized electronic spies were far out stuff, but in 2014, which is 10 years ago, it's not so far out at all. And so imagine now. So once a science fiction idea, the smart dust concept, caught the imaginations of geeks and investors a few years ago, 13 years ago now, when Pister coined the term in the late 1990s, the concept attracted funding from DARPA, the Pentagon's advanced research outfit. It's easy to see why military wants smart dust. During Vietnam War, the military deployed a slew of remote sensors to detect and track North Vietnamese troops, although the planned McNarma line along the DMZ never fully materialized. The sensors proved their worth during the siege of Khe Sanh in early 1968. Better sensors airdropped over the Ho Chi Minh Trail, capable of detecting motion, sound, metal, and even smell, guided the massive U.S. air campaign against North Vietnamese supply lines. But these sensors were huge in comparison to what's possible now. Over the past dozen years, miniature sensor network technology progressed enough to bring specialized commercial devices to market, used to monitor high-value packages, monetary machinery, and building environments. These units are more cigarette box-sized than dust-sized. Okay, so, obviously these are, and, I'm wondering, looking at the last video that I shared, and, I was just reading that article to kind of give you an idea of how small they are. But, looking at the last video here, it sounds like these can almost be used to manipulate people or, manipulate their emotions. It can be used for transhumanism. So you know what? I'm just going to play that video one more time so we can really wrap our heads.
Up by the military to get information from the battlefield.
They call it smart dust, and the new technology may soon make it possible to keep track of anything, anywhere, including you.
Smart dust originated with DARPA back in the 90s. This powder-sized chip is something called the Mu chip from Hitachi. It's the smallest commercially available RFID system in the world. You can literally scatter this stuff like dust or embed it into a sheet of paper. It doesn't require a battery. Flecks of computing power settling on your skin, ingested, monitoring you inside and out.
The nanoparticles.
Okay, I'm just going to stop that there. Okay, so it's a monitoring technology that can become embedded in your skin. So, I don't want to get people all like weird and riled up and schizophrenic sounding here because, this does sound like something a schizophrenic person would say. Oh my God, but okay, the technology is out there. They shared this a while ago. It was on the news. And, this fog, it looks like particles. It doesn't really look like fog. So, kind of crazy. All right, what else do I have?
Up by the military to get.
I just played.
I can't even, you can see it behind me. It is almost 11:30 p.m. Eastern here in Florida on Monday evening. Okay, I'm going to show you this fog. You can't even see past. And I'm out here and I can feel it on me. Like it has been every day, all day. And here's the thing. It's like a film. It's like sticky. Best with these lights come and look. I don't know. I know y'all can't see me, but you can see the fog. Look at this. I don't know what we're breathing in, but I know that this is not only Florida. I know that this is, at this point, worldwide. I've heard multiple countries, most of North America, all of North America almost. And we don't hear anything about drones anymore.
Okay, so there's a personal account from Florida. All right, I found this guy on Instagram today who kind of has his own ideas. And again, he talks about, looks like the whole DARPA thing. So let me pull that up.
Peculiar about this Florida fog that we're having is we've had the hottest winter ever. It's been 80 degrees and it's almost the new year, right? But just coincidentally, right as everyone's talking about, oh, this mysterious fog, put the light on it, you'll see, it looks like particles. Now we have coming a great ice freeze. If you guys think that this Florida fog is normal, think again. U.S. Patent 1338343A, the process and apparatus for producing of intense artificial clouds, fogs, and mist. And guess what? It's been going on since the early 1900s. And lo and behold, right on time with the fog, we're about to have the Arctic air sweep through Florida. We have been in the 80s this entire winter, and now this fog comes in, everyone's freaking out, and all of a sudden, we're gonna go into the 30s after being in the 80s all winter long. There's no such thing as coincidences, friends. Peace and love, y'all. Yeah.
Hey, maybe he's right. No such thing as coincidences, that's for sure. A lot of weird weather manipulation seeming technology has been definitely going on in Florida for the past year especially. So very strange there. Okay, so there's one more program I want to get into, and I think that's about all for the clips I had to share here. One more program that I've heard people bringing up would be Operation Seaspray. And I actually just found out about this right before I got on the show tonight. I was only planning to show the DARPA program. But Operation Seaspray was a bioweapon that was used in San Francisco in 1950. So this article came out in 2015. Okay, so the bacterium Serratia marcensis lives in soil and water and is best known for its ability to produce bright red pigment. This flashy trait makes this particular microbe useful in experiments because it's so bright and easy to see where it is. And in 1950, the US military harnessed that power in a large-scale biowarfare test. Beginning on September 26, 1950, the crew of U.S. Navy minesweeper ship spent 6 days spraying Serratia marcensis into the air about 2 miles off the Northern California coast. The project was called Operation Seaspray, and its aim was to determine the susceptibility of a big city like San Francisco to a bioweapon attack by terrorists. It doesn't really seem like a good idea to test that out on our own people in San Francisco. I don't know why they would do that, but moving on here. In the following days, the military took samples at 43 sites to track the bacteria spread and found that it had quickly infested not only the city, but surrounding suburbs as well. During the test, residents of the area would have inhaled millions of bacterial spores, clearly their tests showed San Francisco and cities with similar size and topography could face germ warfare threats. But there was a catch. At the time, US military thought that Serratia couldn't harm humans. The bug was mostly known for the red spots it produced on infested foods and had not been widely linked to clinical conditions. That changed when 1 week after the test, 11 local residents checked into a Stanford University hospital complaining of urinary tract infections. Whew. Okay, and so I'm just going to stop that there. So hold on. Like, first of all, that's crazy that they would test something out. Our Navy would test something out like that on our own people without telling us. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So a lot of people are bringing up this Operation Seaspray because, you know, it's kind of like this mist. They sprayed it off the coast and, you know, it worked, you know, for all intents and purposes. Their experiment worked. So, you know, is something like this going on? I mean, I don't think we would be tested on by our own military again. I would hope not. If they already found out that's possible, then, you know, could a foreign power have picked up this technology too and be using it? Or, you know, who knows? Who knows what's going on? You know, this is crazy because there's so many you know, possibilities of things that can be used in warfare these days that is nowhere near what it used to be. I mean, we got biological warfare, we have, you know, this drone warfare that's coming out, a lot of new tactics that can be used, and it's really scary. And what I actually find, you know, most interesting about this is that if every foreign nation kind of has their hands on these sorts of technology, I would hope that that would make it so that most nations would choose to not use it. Like, you know, just like, here, we have this technology. Yeah, we can use it. So don't screw with us. And then we'll never use it. So I'm kind of hoping that's the route things are going. But, you know, obviously something weird is going on in Florida. Something is going on with these particles in the air. You can definitely see that. You can see that happening. So, all right, guys, please let me know what you think in the comments here. Please let me know, you know, do you think it's DARPA Smart Dust? Do you think it's Operation Seaspray? If it is DARPA, who do you think it's being used by? Is it being used by, you know, if the smart dust is being used by our own people? Is it being used by a foreign power? You know, maybe it might not be a diabolical plan necessarily. Maybe it's something that, I mean, obviously it sounds like it's used to track citizens and things like that. But, you know, maybe I could totally see, like, you know, the United States putting something out like this, you know, some technology out like this without really kind of telling their own people necessarily, which is scary. So I think that's about it for today, everyone. Before I go, I want to share with you all my art, which is over at shamanspears.com. I make uniquely handcrafted energy channeling devices for the use of and purpose of channeling energy. They're all filled with copper coils, magnets, and crystals, and sand I collect from sacred places around the world. I do next day shipping on all orders, and anyone that receives one will actually get an ancient scroll that comes with it. It's kind of like an initiation thing. It's really a lot of fun. So make sure you go check that out. It's kind of like donating to me, donating to my show, but you get a gift in return. So it's not just a donation, it's also a gift. All right. Thanks everyone for joining me tonight. And until next time on Apollo's Odyssey, over and out.